Alright, hi. Chapter 8. Pre-design submittal requirements. Pre-design consists in identifying the requirement of developing the project and documentation. The requirements may come from a various sources. The new Navy platforms, facility planning, database realignment, closure. Project documentation may involve multiple levels of approval. The projects are classified as minor work, special project, military construction. Each classification has its own authorization process. One of the requirements have been identified. Complete the facility planning data with initiate the project development. Select the best alternative to fulfill the requirement. This may include the renovation, modernization of existing facility, many new construction, leasing, or combination. Include other elements project documentation to include the 1391 electronic project generator format with a detailed scale of the collateral equipment, like costs, list of costs, preliminary budget cost information for the preliminary facility, supporting facility, utility connection, site workflow, site location, approval of the EPA documents, SATEX, EISA, RONA, RAC, and SHPO as required. Economic analysis, facilities planning data that may include basic facility requirement, other project specific data, and site approval process, including review of land use plans and any possible site constraint. With the constraint issues may require the unique design construction elements. Therefore, the site should be fully approved prior to the initiating the project design. Some constraints may restrict or prevent development on the selected side of the site. The considered development must be restricted. Project costs can be increased significantly due to the additional design construction elements needed to build on a site. Due to the site location, facility elements, some projects require other agencies' design approval process. These design reviews can be protracted. The required completion environmental documentation varies, may and develop in parallel. Design efforts must be completed prior to the construction. Include other data with the project documentation such as drawings, sketches, sites, location, maps, existing support facilities, site utilities, location, or identified constraint diagrams, sketches that suggest relationship among project functional space areas adjacent with the related project, existing facilities. 911 cost requirements, development, budgetary costs, life cycle costs as following guidance for the Navy fact cost, engineering policy procedure, include the life cycle cost analysis justifying project program activity. UFC 402001 Security Engineering Facility Plan and Manual provides additional guidance for identifying the cost implications in corporation physical security, anti-terrorism elements to the DoD facility. Alright, Department of Defense Form 1391. Typically, the Special Projects Milcon projects on the Form DoD 1391 identify special projects Milcons or project number that make available the review of the EPG database or spyware does not use the EPG as attached necessary with the documentation of the project to the product's electronically approved project with the EPG electronic signature reflective EPG database. More information about special authorization. See Navius 11011020G. Furniture, fixture, and equipment FF and E. For specific guidance on furniture, fixture, and equipment, see UFC 3/12010 interior design. Engineer study, solar analysis, engineering analysis, specific requirements concerning engineer study. See the UFC 3410N, mechanical engineering design, leadership in engineering and environmental design, or LED, LED. Criteria, environmental requirements required with the contract contact of all required surveys and information gathering and analytical testing. Specific guidance for the conducting of the field investigation preparation within the specifications. See UFC 3800N10N. Environmental engineering facility construction review installation focus plans. IFPs. GEO's readiness database identified with the development constraint that may include the site contamination, hazardous waste, lead paint, PCBs, asbestos-abated issues, controls from natural resources as historical structures, endangered species, wetlands, and Clean Water Act. Some projects may require the NEPA documentation prior to the construction authorization. Our field investigation site approval. The process should include the field investigation, verification, every other effort provided with more defined project scope and cost to rule out the site. Government responsibility. Government installation planners are responsible for obtaining information required for the project site with the approval of the design. Design record shall obtain this on all site and building data, investigating existing site conditions, utilities, facilities necessary to properly integrate with the design and the project existing conditions, except otherwise contractor with the field investigation should complete the aggregate site investigation, hydrographical survey, verification, location availability, utility drain system, existing as-built record drawings when available will be furnished for information. However, the DOR and the contractor shall be responsible for the field verification as built and drawings, on-site features that may influence project designs. And design build contract, the designer of the record shall be responsible to show all the site's information of the government and request for proposal. In addition, the designer of record shall provide additional field investigation verification of existing site conditions as may report required to support the development and design construction of the project. 9162 Coordination. All site, including topographical, hydrographical, soil surveys, shall be coordinated with a representative of the Public Works, Utility, Engineering, Energy team other than Navy FAC design personnel during the execution of field investigation work. Designer of record shall be responsible for obtaining necessary permits to comply with the applicable laws and codes regulations, including OSHA regulations, the exact location of the geographical excavation, whether the drilling and digging should be approved by the appropriate authorities for local utility services or by the company hired by geotechnical engineers firm to scope the utilities. The director of records shall also be responsible for all the damages, personal property, as the result that occur as a result of the fault of the negligency. The designer of record shall take properly safety precautions to protect public and property of the public and government with physical hazard and unsafe conditions. Upon completion of the field investigation, return the property to its original condition, except and release writing of the client activity. 917. Life Safety Code Survey. For specification life requirements, Life Safety Code Surveys, UFC 3610N. Pavement evaluations. For specific requirements covering the pavement design evaluations, UFC 3210N. For topographical survey, the specific requirements concerning the topographical survey, UFC 3210N. 9110 geotechnical investigation report. 9110.1 existing information. Each facility engineering command maintains record file pertaining to the geographical aspect of the previously constructed project with the agricultural engineering firms preparing planning, design, documentations, and review for the resource and research existing conditions of the past design appropriate facilities, structure payments, varying decisions of the file's contents, and possible contending the government for the design build contracts. The relevant geotechnical pavement that is available will be furnished for the design request for proposal. 9110.2 for foundation soil investigation. Per foundation soil investigation, including sample testing evaluation requirements guidance sent forth in UFC 300-250-01 FA or UFC 3-260-02 Chapter 18 or IBC 2006 7 UFC 3-220-01N UFC 3-220-03 FA. Using international building code terms, owner application building officials are synonymous with the government. In addition, following the requirements apply. General, the investigation evaluation, including soil borings, test pits within the ground penetration radar surveys, seismic refraction surveys, electrical resistivity testing, laboratory testing shall be in accordance with the ASTM standards to the fullest practical extent. Shall be in accordance with the classification of the investigation of soil hazards should be supervised by the registered professional engineer. Where the ASTM methods are not applicable, procedures and apparatus should be used in accordance with the general accepted engineering practices. 9110.22 Qualification of testing firm. Qualification geotechnical testing laboratory personnel shall meet ASTM D3740-08 Statement of Qualification for the design build contracts. Time of bid process proposal for the contractor shall submit at least 3 projects completed with at least 2 years. The geographical region for the proposed project is constructed with the contractor geotechnical engineering and engineers in charge of the responsibility. The list shall contain the names and phone numbers of the owner's representative that can verify the geotechnical engineering participation for those projects. Contractors shall also submit the signed statement of the contractor geotechnical engineering has been inspected. Geotechnical information made available to contract documents. Using global positioning system with a soil investigation. Global positioning system coordinates with the accuracy with at least 1 meter shall be taken for each of the soil bearing coring test pit locations stated on the boring coring testing pit log. The coordinates shall also be with the reference WGS 84 with the stating the degrees in latitude and longitude. Field testing of the geotechnical investigation typically consists of soil bearing standard penetration tests, colon penetration tests. Soil bearings, SPTs, and CPTs shall be made in accordance with the ASTM D1452, ASTM D1586, and ASTM D3441, respectively. The Standard pepper penetration system test, or ASTM-D 1586, is a procedure to modify continuous standard pepper penetration sample test for the initial 4 meters for boring. If the proposed facility will have the base level of the ASTM-D 1586 procedure, shall modify with the continuous standard penetration sample test for the initial 4 meters of the boring below the proposed basement floor elevation. During drilling, all soils shall be visually classified in accordance with the ASTM-D 2488, and if evidence discovered in the empty tank soil groundwater contamination should be reported immediately to the government. If soft and cohesive materials are described in 6 meters below the ground surface, undisturbed samples shall be taken in laboratory testing. Undisturbed samplings and testing shall be performed in discretion geotechnical responsibility for the performing the investigation. I want test of the such percolation testing, seismic refraction survey, soil resistivity testing, and shall be performed as required by the contractor or by the contractor geotechnical engineer, designer of record, and the design build contract. Alright, 9.1.10.2.6. Use of piezometers. A drill technique is used to prevent measurement of the water table level. The contractor shall install the 2 piezometers per drilling site with a more accurately measuring the depth of the water table. Piezometers are required for the stormwater pound investigation. Piezometers were not required for if the groundwater level can be accurately measured for the drilling operation, or that the good evidence of the water table is not within the depth of the boring of the zone influence of the foundation structure. Seismic site and class determination. Seismic site shall be determined by the procedure set forth in the latest version of the FEMA F450. Seismic site class is determined for the field testing all projects unless the state otherwise. In contrast, the accomplished the soil sample shall be evaluated 30.5 meter depth and shear wave. The velocity shall be performed unless the wave can cognate with Navy fact geotechnical engineering for the design build project. The request for proposal shall state the seismic site class to be used for the design. This can be determined by the cognate Navy fact geotechnical engineer. Navy fact shall be the ultimate authority on site class determination of the design. 9.1.10.2.8 Laboratory. Minimum laboratory sessions should include the group of like samples conducting a sieve of the analysis, Alter-Berg limit the test, performing natural moisture content determination, effectively depict institute conditions. The field log will be updated in accordance with the ASTM-D 2487. Another testing such as California bearing ratio, unconfined comprehensive strength consolidation testing, triaxial testing, potential volume charge change, and suspected expensive clay areas shall be performed and required in the contractor, geotechnical engineer, design of record, design and build contract. 9.1.10.3 Geotechnical Report. A geotechnical report shall be provided on all contracts unless waived by the government contract technical representative of the state. Otherwise, by the contract report shall describe the regional, geographical, topographically, any other physiographic information that may influence the geotechnical design. The investigative program, exploration, testing techniques, procedures used for the characteristics in the site shall be described and discussed. The report shall depict soil stratigraphy, materials, and groundwater conditions at the site. The report shall be specifically addressed at the groundwater level to expect for the encounter with the construction under the normal conditions, any site factors, any tidal action, climate, seasonal flooding, droughts, any may influence the ground level, water level, to include the copies of the pertinent any U.S. geographical survey maps, use the boring logs, the laboratory testing result provided with a compact disc in the AutoCAD compatible format, either DXF or DWG, conform with the paragraph 732, provided with the CDF, Adobe Acrobat PDF copy of the geotechnical report, 2 print copies of the report, PDF copy of the report, and shall produce directly the report's authoring software. All geotechnical reports shall be assigned registered professional engineer for archiving purposes. A PDF copy of the geotechnical report shall be sent to the direct mail to the respective Echelon 3 command with the project residing in the area of responsibility. Navy Atlantic Capital Improvement Geotechnical Section 6506 Hampton Boulevard, Norfolk, Virginia 23508 and 1278, or Navy Fact Pacific Capital Improvement Civil Geotechnical Section 258 MAPKALAPA Drive, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii 96860. 9.1.10 forward, providing scaled location planning, boring logs, groundwater observation, laboratory data, boring log description of the Navy flag draw forms indicated with the paragraph 732. Laboratory data should be summarized in tables. No scan boring will be accepted. Foundation site preparation. Discuss the facility under the design, making the recommendation of the foundation type. Describe the specific improvements they require for the shell and foundation, such as the compaction, removal, the replacement, subcharging white drains, etc. Describe the soil bearing capacity, anticipated settlement seismic aspect, pile capacity, pile length, pile types. Special instructions such as jetting, pre-drilling, testing are required. Discuss earthwork associated with the foundation design, construction of the site. Improvements that include settlement, liquefiable solids, expansive soil slope instabilities near surface groundwater. Discussion should address existing conditions. Study analysis, perform recommendation mitigation of the effects of these conditions. Address dewatering, sheeting of the shoring. Consideration, design of the construction, applicability required with the designer of the record. State the pavement with the design meet parameters of the pavement design. Pavement design is to be completed by others. Provided design parameters determine the subsurface investigation. If multiple structures are being designed, to address structures on an individual basis. Discuss the site preparation, suspectability, rank, construction, equipment. Discuss any solid conditions relating to potential concrete piping, corrosion, and recommendation mitigated effects thereof. The design build project submitted with the report shall be accompanied by the cover letter from the design of the record identifying the recommendation of the report proposed to be adopted into the design, which are interpreted by the contractor as the conflicting with being modification geotechnical pavement related requirements for the request for proposal. 9111 translations. Construction drawings are required to be prepared in dual language with the majority of the overseas location. If the contract scope includes otherwise, translation with the specification shall not be required. When dual language is required, the host nation and A&E acquisition and evaluation shall be responsible for the accurate translation and all required documentation, such as the clear, comprehensible to the local construction community. The host of the national A&E may be contracted with the technical government in furnishing the site with the surveys, geotechnical reports, the product specifications, host and country requirements, other technical documents prepared in foreign language services, interpreted with a meeting with the local officials and contractor. Translation should be included with the pre-final of the submittal of their project completion. For drawing developing of the dual language, provided adequate space for the adjacent to each of the note, title, subject, symbol, etc. For these foreign language translation, the final drawing shall not be appear cluttered or congested. Alright, 9.2, requirements for the management plan, or RAMP. For the Air Force project only, the requirements in the management plan provide the project planning information such as the base architectural ground guidelines, base standard regulation, fire protection, safety, security, communications, system operability, maintainability, engineering, conservation, other basic site-specific requirements such as base long-range plan, and the requirements of management plan is prepared of the project base for the major command level provided by the designer of the recorder and by the government program manager. Chapter 10, Design Submittal Requirements.